Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And today I want to talk to you about September. The month starts in a couple of days, and for me, resetting in September is a really great way to move forward. Many people slow down during the summer. They have more time off. They have more quiet time, more expansion within themselves. I find clients who make commitments after the summer are more likely to keep to those commitments. And I do think a lot of it has to do with when we have a little quiet time, when we have nice weather, when we have a little peace within ourselves, we're more likely to be in touch with our center and be ready to commit to new things. And if you're listening to this podcast after September, you could still implement the ideas in this podcast. Anytime we can reset, find our center, make new goals, figure out what we want to do in our life, and most of all, figure out how we could stay committed is a really great way to move forward. Sometimes I think of it as a vow. Like if we make a vow to make a change, we make a vow to see things differently, we're more likely to hold to it. We're more likely to make a plan and execute that plan. And so the first thing that we can do is we can reflect on the year. Are we happy at our job? Are we happy in our relationships? How are our children doing? How are we feeling about ourselves? Are we happy with how we're taking care of ourselves? Are there things that we'd like to try? Are there new experiences we want to have? Are there trips we want to go on? All these questions, write them down and see how you feel. Think about the year. You could even think about 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever you want to think about your past. What's missing and what's yearning inside of you? How do you want to move forward? And of course, we could commit to these things and say, this is what I'm going to do the next 3 months. This is what I'm going to do the next year. This is how I want to grow my business. This is the new job I want to get. This is the gym I'm going to join. But then we have to ask ourselves, why don't we hold our commitments? Why don't we hold our vows? And sometimes it comes down to discipline, and sometimes it comes down to resilience. But what I often find is that people who are able to achieve what they want in their life and to make true change stay closely aligned to their core beliefs. And this is not always easy. We all have philosophies and ways that we look at life. But when times get tough, and most of all when things are uncertain, that's the time we need to really hold on to our core beliefs more than anything. And even right now, I have this client who I know listens to my podcast who really wants to find a new job. She's been looking for a few months and she's starting to get worried. She doesn't see a lot of job postings. She's starting to worry how she will pay her rent. And she's starting to believe that she's not going to find what she's looking for. But what's also very interesting about this client is one of her core beliefs is that things always work out for the best, that things happen in the right time. She believes in maybe. She trusts that she'll be okay no matter what, and she's really starting to love herself. So why then is she feeling so afraid that she can't have the life that she wants? Why is she looking at September with doom and gloom instead of hope and possibility? And often what happens is because we don't see the life we want happening, our fear takes over. And instead of staying aligned to our core beliefs, we start to live in our fear. And I know I talked about this last week about uncertainty, but we're afraid we're not okay because the unknown scares us. Because the minute we don't see the life that we want, and we don't see how it's going to happen, and we don't see what's possible, fear takes over, and all those theories and quotes and inspiration goes out the window. So one of the most important things is to ask yourself what you truly believe. And not everybody might believe what my client believes, but for her, when she commits back to her core beliefs and writes them down and puts them in her pocket and reads it a couple of times a day, she feels more hopeful. And she's more likely to send out more resumes. She's more likely not to feel stressed and worried. She's more likely to take better care of herself. And I truly believe that she will find a job in the next couple of months. Businesses are going to be posting more jobs because they're resetting in September. And that's why we also need to reset in September, so we could open ourselves to all that's possible. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't believe the best always happens, maybe you're someone who believes that you have to make the best of what life gives you. So that could be a core belief that you write down. Maybe you find that when you live in gratitude and you're very grateful for all the things you have in your life, you feel more centered and grounded and more peaceful. And then you have more strength to pursue new things in your life as well. Maybe uncertainty frightens you so much that it overwhelms you. Then a core belief for you could be the practice of maybe. And you could go back to my podcast last week and start implementing these ideas that maybe you're okay, maybe things will get better, maybe there's something left for you to experience in this moment. And sometimes just the belief in maybe propels you to stick to your commitment to change your life. Sometimes people's core beliefs are about how they should take care of themselves, their meditation practice, their yoga practice, or maybe they want to start a new practice of better self-care. Maybe your core belief is about having new experiences and what it means to be alive. Another core belief is staying present and being in the moment. And you could look back on some prior podcasts where I talk about how we could actually put things down and enter the moment new. What a beautiful practice for September, to put down the past, to put down what we no longer need, and only carry what's necessary into the next moment. And you might be listening to this podcast, and although you have good morals and values and ethics, you might not be clear what your core beliefs are, how you think life works, how you think opportunities happen, how you look at the day, how you find presence, how you let go of stress and worry. Everybody has an idea of how they feel less stressed and less worried, or how they could find more freedom. See if some of those are your core beliefs. It's almost like you write your life philosophy down and then you commit to it. And like I said, what my client does, you write it on pieces of paper, you read it a couple of times a day. And when you're faced with the uncertainty and the fear that you can't change your life, or you can't have something new, or you can't keep your vow, read these core beliefs and recommit to them. Because we all have ideas that ground us, that anchor us. And that's when we'll have our most success. When we're not worried about where the future's going. We're not worried about how it's going to happen. But we have these ideas of what we want to do, what we want to pursue, how we want to be. And we have these anchoring ideas, these philosophies, these mindsets that anchor us and help us carry through. So September could be your great reset, helping you commit to new goals, new dreams, new ways to take care of yourself, and also commit to your core beliefs. Because many of us have these beliefs that make us happy, that make us joyful, but we forget them because life is so stressful, and then things don't work out, and then we question life. But if you hold on to your view, your perspective on life, you're more likely to be more present and more grateful and more resilient to really find what you're looking for. So if you have some time in the next couple of days, write it all down. Your goals, your dreams, your desires, and your core beliefs. And see if you could view September as an opportunity to reset. Send those resumes out. Try to go out more if you're looking to meet somebody new. Pick up some new practices to reduce your stress and worry. Whatever you believe will give you more balance and more joy, so you can make September a time to commit to live your best life. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my book, The Gift of Maybe, it's available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe on iTunes and leave a comment.